Thank you for joining me here on my session with the VSM DevCon. And thanks to the SD Times for putting this on this year. I'm prepared to talk to you today about why I believe value trumps flow when managing your value streams. Over the last few years, I think we've spent most of our time really talking about the last mile of what I call value stream. And that's automating code to operations and connecting your DevOps toolchain here. And I think we have eliminated a lot of waste there, but we always seem to be focusing too much on flow there. And I think that's really good, but are customers really seeing the value of that? Do customers really see that you're moving so fast? And in that faster value stream DevOps flow, are you really delivering more value to the customer, or are you delivering such smaller sizes of things that it doesn't get to the customer that often? Or can your customers consume that value that often? So there's all kinds of questions that you have to ask when you start to automate your tool chain and look at things and do value stream optimization. So the question is, do customers see value from you being so efficient here or not? Or are you delivering less value? So I had some discussions about this. I talked to some people in the industry that I know, and we talked a lot about a lot of different things. But what came up was I'm spending thousands of dollars on improving my DevOps flow, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and sometimes millions, but I don't know if I'm delivering any more value to my customer. I still don't have the visibility that I need to see what we're delivering and see how far along I am with the initiatives I have. We're really great at building software, but I feel we're building the wrong software faster, and we're not delivering value to the organization. And big theme I've gotten is, not a lot of connection to business outcomes, and making sure that I'm connecting and getting the outcomes I'm looking for with value stream management and DevOps toolchain. So that's why I still think that we need to look at this a little bit differently than just being all about flow. Flow doesn't mean that you're going to deliver more or increase value to your customer. It just means you're going to be faster. And I think we've made things really fast, and we focus so much on flow that it may have been and could be to the expense of value. And value is a bunch of different things, but value to the customer is mostly what we're focused on. So I put a scenario together to frame up what I'm talking about, to get my point of view across. So this is Carl here. He works for this bank. Let's call it Big Bank. Big Bank had a goal of reducing time to market by 20%, and they went into a value stream initiative to improve flow, so they were faster to market and so on. So they got a consultant. They went through the process. They did all of that. And you know what? The outcome was they totally achieved that 20% and actually got to 25% increase or decrease in cycle time to get to market quicker. They did a whole bunch of things. But something started happening. People started complaining to Carl about how the user experience wasn't right, and the customer target revenues didn't happen, and a couple of things just weren't going the right way. So what was going on is they were going really fast, but were they really getting anywhere in the market to their customers and delivering the things that were relevant and important to them? So we started working with them. We took a look at it. We put some metrics in place. And one of the things we noticed right away with flow distribution across their value stream is they've been introducing a lot of rework. A lot of defects are coming back. A lot of bugs are getting fixed. There's a lot of support things that are getting into their development flow. So we peeled back the onion a little bit more to understand what that consultant did for Carl. And what we realized is Carl actually did all the right things when consulting. He mapped the value stream. Here's an example of it. And while mapping the value stream, of course, he noticed that it was 14 days to get through the design phase on your request flow. And he noticed that it was 10 days in your workflow automation at the bottom, your code to production, to get through the testing phase. So by the recommendations that the consultant made to Carl, they actually improved that. They improved it by 5 days in design. They improved it by 2 days as well in this section of what they were working on. Now, they did a whole bunch of other things that helped them get that reduction in cycle time. But at the same time, here's the things that they did to improve those. So what they did is they decided not to do a formal UI spec at the design phase. They actually did something really informal, and they allowed the developer to fill in the gaps while coding. And at the same time, they also reduced human testing, and they introduced some automated UI testing in their DevOps flow or their material flow. So they did these two things, and it gave them that reduction in cycle time, their time to market. So what happened? Was it really worth it? Well, yeah, they got that 25% lead time reduction and cycle time reduction that they needed. But by de-emphasizing those stages, they actually frustrated their customers more because the user experience wasn't what it's supposed to be. Things got through, and additional rework would happen because buttons weren't in the right way, and that would be caught by the customers, and rework would enter into the system. And that's introducing more waste by removing waste, right? So, or value. And their scores started to drop. So what's the moral of the story? Why did I go through that scenario? It was to emphasize really this point that we've been talking about, that in the pursuit of flow for Carl's organization, Big Bank, they diluted the value to the customer. In the pursuit of flow, they introduced more risk, frustrated their customers. They introduced more rework coming into the system. So in the pursuit of flow, they actually became less efficient in the value that they were delivering. It had the wrong effect. So that's why I came back to this thing about value trumps flow. And whenever you're doing a software value stream optimization program, you got to keep this in mind. How am I allowing value to get through the system? If what I'm going to do is remove a step, a sequence, something that is providing value so that I can achieve greater flow, that may be a bigger issue. So, one of the things we are talked about a lot is the word value. Value, of course, is anything in your software delivery value stream that is related to bringing out business outcomes, whether that's a sequence, a step, whether that's an actual feature going through the value stream to get delivered. All these things are valuable things that happen for a reason, and understanding why they are and the value they bring is what you need to do. But make sure when you're in the pursuit of flow, you're not putting at risk value. So applying the lean decision filter to value stream management is actually pretty straightforward. The lean decision filter itself was created by David Anderson, and he defined it in this way. It's mostly was defined for how to look at outside work coming into the Kanban and working through that. But I'm thinking that you can absolutely apply this to value stream optimization and improving flow and value through your value stream. So I get it, right? We don't want to eliminate waste. We need to eliminate waste, right? Of course we want to get rid of waste in our software delivery processes, but we don't want to do them in expensive flow, because flow trumps eliminating waste. So we don't want to remove things that's going to make you go slower, of course. You don't want to remove a process or a step or something you're doing to slow you down effectively. But at the same time, when trying to eliminate waste and improve flow, you definitely don't want that to affect value. Focus on maximizing value. Be willing to sacrifice flow for value. If something takes you a couple more steps, but you're delivering more value, or what you're delivering has greater value, sacrifice flow. So I also always come back to remind everybody to this when I'm doing a speaking session is automation is great, and you can learn to use the lean decision filter here to help you with that. But remember, value stream management is human. It takes the humans to analyze and look at these things. It takes a human to go and say, hey, if I remove this step, then I won't get consistency in my user experience downstream, and I could have this effect. So we really need to understand that those types of things are human and normally will remain human for some time. So where are we now? What's going on? So when you think about it, we're still really focusing on increasing flow through the value stream rather than improving value. IT organizations are always thinking about how do I get faster cycle times, faster releases, but I'm not releasing something of value every minute. If I can release a code to production every minute, am I really releasing anything? Because it takes a little bit longer than that to get enough stuff into a build to go out. So then you're just releasing what you just released a minute ago. So that speed, even though it's great, it's not bringing more value to your customer in that way. And I suggest that we change focusing so much on flow and we start to focus on value. Value is very important. Flow is very important. Improving flow is very important as well. So what does it start with? You got to be able to visualize. We did a value stream map example earlier. You got to see everything, how it's working together. Visualize it, map it, understand how information is flowing through your organization. And then look at the tools you're using that. Once you understand your flow and what's going on, you can use tools to automate and map up, but make sure you've measured and you know where these things all put together, feedback loops, understanding all of that before you take action in your value stream. So what's the key takeaway from what I've said today? I've talked about valuetrumpsflow. I've talked about DevOps, tool chain automation, things like that. What I'm trying to really say is improving flow is good, but increasing value is much more important. And I've got to say this statement that we came up with: don't sacrifice value at the altar of flow. And if you kind of listen to this, it'll be a lot easier as you're trying to understand how to improve your value stream. And I think that's a great statement. Don't sacrifice value at the altar of flow. I'm going to leave you with my Value Trumps Flow. Thank you so much for attending my session today. I really appreciate it. And enjoy the rest of the conference. There's some great companies here, and some of my good friends are here presenting as well. Thank you so much.